about the article about Chrisette Michele that was written by Kristin West Savelli. And she was highlighting some things. I was reading the article and she was talking about how Chrisette Michele is in a really bad space right now. And people on her IG are giving her threatening messages, very evil messages. And she shared with IG that she had a miscarriage. And people were so eager to remind her that she performed at Trump's inauguration. And she's saying that she's really in a bad space and her label has dropped her as well. Now, Kristin West, the author of this article, I'm going to post it down in the link in the description link. She's saying that even though to her Donald Trump is the epitome of white supremacy, she said that she feels that we will bash and throw away people in our community when they are thinking different than we are, and especially the black women. She's saying that black women are treated worse than black men. She called out the fact that Kanye West wanted to meet Donald Trump and black men did not. They did not boycott him. You know, even Floyd Mayweather, after he won that fight with him and McGregor, he came out 2 weeks later and said that Donald Trump was not seen as a racist until he ran for president. And I did not see any boycotts. You know, he made all the money. You know, and Steve Harvey, he got some backlash, but not a lot. You know, Steve Harvey still got his following. He still got his sponsors. He ain't lost nothing. And I kind of looked at what she was saying, and I kind of pondered about it. And I was like, well, wow, could that be true? Could it be that black women are abused more when they do something opposite of what the black race thinks that we should be doing, and we're outed and trashed and thrown away? Could that be true? And I was thinking about it and contemplating and looking at it. And I was like, well, let's think about this. Black women, or women in general, have always been looked at as the weakest sex, okay? So they get most of the abuse because they are looked at as being the weakest. And especially in communities that we're not protected in. And we're not protected because of the war itself. You have a lot of men going off to war. They can't protect their families. They're in another country. So I feel that a lot of the women get a lot of the disrespect because they are the weakest. They're seen as the weakest sex. So when you have a world full of narcissism, narcissists go for the weakest. And that would be the woman. So this is why I think that Chrisette Michele is being attacked like this, because she's seen as the weakest. She's seen as something that's easy to be preyed upon. And this is how I look at that. Now, when we look at parties, I really didn't vote this time coming around because my mother has Alzheimer's and it's hard for her to get out of the house. So I kind of have to, work around her, what she wants to do because of her illness. And I couldn't really vote the way I wanted to. But what Kristin Savelli is saying, that even though people that voted for Trump, we cannot let those people that voted for Hillary Clinton slide either, because she did call people in the community super predators. So we can't let them slide either. So those people haven't been thrown away. Those people haven't been boycotted. Those people haven't been, they're still speaking in the community. They haven't been thrown away. They voted for Hillary Clinton. And if anyone knows about the Clinton Chronicles, And you can go on YouTube and type in Clinton Chronicles. They were smuggling drugs all through the United States. They're the reason why your children are popping mollies and all of that, and you voted for them. So what Kristin is saying, that we can't let them slide either. So on both sides, there's wrong been done. And what I want to say is this. When you look at nations, you look at all nations, and you look at the fact that all nations do not agree upon everything, but they do agree to continue the species and continue to self-preservation, which means even if they all don't like who voted for what, or don't like that people are voting for certain things, like there are a lot of Mexicans that some voted Democrat, some voted Republican. They're still going to protect the Mexican race, regardless. They're not going to out each other just because one voted for Trump and one voted for Hillary. It does not work like that. They still going to work together to keep Mexico in order and make sure that their lineage, their family lineage, is continued. But when we look at the black people, we out each other. We seclude each other away from the race, and we say, "Oh, you're kicked out. We're snatching your black card because you voted for Donald Trump," and we don't have no protection because neither one of us won't protect each other because we got these ideologies. If you don't do what I say, then you're out. Culture and race and nations don't work on those principles. Only we do as black people. We work on those principles. And that's something like a popularity contest. If you don't vote for, you're out. Cliques and clubs, and I don't do all of that because that's not what it's based about. This nation thing is very, very, very much more than the eye can see. When a nation is going to preserve themselves and make sure that their species don't go extinct, they still unify regardless of different opinions. And we have to understand that. If you look like me and you got nappy hair and you got straight hair, curly hair, whatever, you got a big nose, small lips, whatever, and your skin is brown like mine, just understand, no matter what I think, it may be different than yours, but we still got to work together to keep this alive, keep this staying alive, keep this in existence. Every other race is doing that, but we're not. We're too busy going after the weaker link, or what we perceive to be weak, and we're exiling them, and then we expect to get some help when we don't even treat our own right, just because they think differently, or they support something differently, or they express differently. We're like, "Oh no, you're getting cut off. We're taking your black card." The thing about this revoking of the black card, you can't revoke something that you didn't give. Okay, the Creator makes sure that our species and our race stays here. So when I wake up in the morning, there's no other black person waking me up. It's called a God that wakes me up. And I get up and I do what I need to do. Okay? Doesn't matter. So we have to get off this because it seems like we have a superiority complex, which means I control you, you control me. That is not how a race is supposed to conduct itself. We are to conduct ourselves as a team. We need each other, but you do not control the team. The team has to work in unison. And if parts of the team does not want to make a decision, the other part does have a right to go on their merry way and leave that other part to themselves. Because we can't get into unity because we want to all rule. We want to all rule, and we want everyone to think alike and everyone to be alike, and it's not going to work like that. We're all born at different times, under different signs. We all think differently. And if you don't think so, put a bunch of us in a room and watch us go at each other because we're different. Put a bunch of people in a room that don't mesh well because they're all different, and you're going to see a bunch of conflict because we're all different. Okay, all of us are not supposed to think the same. I don't think that this is how God is supposed to want us to be. All of us thinking the same thing. What are we here for? There is a proverb from the Sufi text, and it's called "From one come many." From one God comes many people, many personalities, many ways. So with Chrisette, Michele, just hold your head up high, and those ones who are downing her, just keep on doing that because you'll have your turn. You'll have your turn in the spotlight when you do something that, you know, everybody else don't like. They're going to clown you, and they're going to do all those things to you too. So just think about this. Have you ever been ostracized because you voted for Trump? Or have you been called a coon because you voted for Trump? Have you been done this way because you exercise free will and free thought? And ask yourself why this has been done. And if you've done this, ask yourself, do you have control problems? Do you feel like you have to be in control of others' lives? You know, ask yourself this. Let's keep talking about it down in the comment section. Like, subscribe. Salon B. Have a nice day.